Moral Orel, a stop-motion animated series that aired on Adult Swim, follows the life of Orel Puppington, an 11-year-old boy in the devoutly Protestant town of Morrilton. The town satirizes the American Bible Belt, where religious zeal often masks moral contradictions. Even Orel's name is a nod to American televangelist Oral Roberts, grounding the show in its critique of fundamentalist Christianity. The series draws inspiration from old-fashioned children's shows like Davy and Goliath, flipping their wholesome style to explore dark, mature themes. Its seemingly innocent animation contrasts with its biting critique of religious hypocrisy. This irony is underscored by the town's name, Morrilton, a place with few actual morals. While the first season establishes the formula, it is also the weakest part of the show. Most episodes follow a predictable structure. Orel misinterprets a saying from a Reverend Putty, takes it literally, engages in outrageous antics, and is punished for something unrelated. However, as the series progresses, it subverts these expectations, deepening its exploration of repression, hypocrisy, and suffering. Hypocrisy and moral contradictions. Religious hypocrisy forms the backbone of Moral Orel. The townspeople twist the biblical teachings to suit their agendas, preaching virtue while acting selfishly. For example, Reverend Putty uses his sermons to air personal grievances rather than offer genuine guidance.
I made it feel like anyone else, but it's hard. Women like renegades. What am I gonna do? Reinvent myself? It's too late. Biker.
In one episode, he blames the dead for wasting God's gift of life, prompting Orel to attempt a literal resurrection of the dead. The distorted lessons from authority figures creates confusion and harm, exposing the dangers of blindly following dogma. The character of Orel exemplifies this contradiction. As an earnest boy who tries to live by his faith, Orel's literal interpretations often lead to absurd and tragic outcomes. These episodes highlight the impracticality and harm of literal interpretations of scripture, especially when taught without nuance or explanation. The hypocrisy extends to Orel's father, Clay, who enforces strict religious discipline while failing to embody the values he preaches. Clay whips Orel as a form of punishment, mirroring the spare the rod, spoil the child mentality of Proverbs verse 23:13. This resonated with me personally, as I was spanked as a child under the guidance of discipline. The show criticizes such authoritarian parenting, where obedience is prioritized over understanding, leaving children like Orel confused and emotionally scarred. Repression and emotional toll. In Morrilton, repression is omnipresent, affecting children and adults alike. Orel's mother, Bloberta, exemplifies this oppression. Unable to voice her dissatisfaction with her life or marriage, she numbed her happiness by obsessively cleaning. Her actions revealed the isolation and mental toll of living in an environment where appearances matter more than authenticity. The emotional repression of the town's adults trickles down to its children. Orel attempts to embody virtue, which repeatedly leads to trouble, not because he is immoral, but because his natural curiosity and desires clash with the rigid moral framework of his community. This highlights how religious fundamentalism suppresses individuality, often causing harm rather than fostering understanding. Subverting expectations. The turning point. The show's turning point comes with the episode God-Fearing, which breaks the formula of the first season. Here, Orel independently decides to break all 10 commandments in a single day, believing that experiencing fear will make him appreciate forgiveness. This subversion of the usual setup where Orel misunderstands Reverend Putty teaching signals a shift in tone. The episode critiques the role of fear in religious obedience, suggesting that fear of divine punishment outweighs genuine moral understanding. The emotional cost of fundamentalism. The series poignantly explores the emotional toll of fundamentalism, particularly on mental health. Studies show that religious rigidity often leads to guilt, anxiety, and repression. These findings parallel Orel's experiences where he attempts to live virtuously, which often results in guilt and confusion due to the contradictory messages he receives. This is particularly evident in the episode Charity, where Orel's good intentions helping the homeless goes awry when he unwittingly buys drugs. Instead of addressing his actions, his father punishes him for using slang, reflecting a misguided moral framework where appearances matter more than actual well-being.
People know who you are by the words you use, not the things you do.
I'm sorry, Dad. From now on, when I do drugs, I'm going to speak properly.
Personal reflections and broader implications. Watching more Orel was deeply personal for me. Growing up in a Protestant evangelical household, I experienced the same duality the show critiques. My family presented a polished image to the outside world, while harboring unspoken tensions and unresolved conflicts behind closed doors. The show validated those experiences, revealing that the facade of perfection is a shared reality for many in fundamentalist communities. One of the show's subtler critiques is how religious beliefs can lead to rejecting inconvenient truths like science. This mindset was tragically visible during the COVID-19 pandemic. Many white evangelical communities resisted vaccines, denying the severity of the virus and placing faith above evidence.
Among white evangelical Americans, interest in the vaccine isn't as widespread.
Being anti-mask and anti-vaccine is anti-government, then I'm proud to be anti-government.
As more and more Americans are getting vaccinated, resistance remains strong within one group in particular, white evangelicals.
This costs lives. It's a stark reminder that blind faith can have devastating consequences when prioritizing dogma over proven facts. Why this matters. Moral Orel resonates deeply because it doesn't just critique a fictional town, it holds up a mirror to real-life communities shaped by fundamentalism. It shows how suppressing individuality and critical thinking harms everyone involved, from children trying to make sense of their world to adults trapped in roles they never chose. Through humor, satire, and poignant storytelling, Moral Orel dismantles the facade of religious fundamentalism by exposing the hypocrisy, repression, and emotional pain beneath the surface. The show offers a powerful critique of environments that prioritize conformity over compassion and dogma over understanding. For those of us who lived in such environments, it serves as both a validation and a reminder that true morality lies in honesty and empathy, not adherence to doctrine.